Nobody cares how tired you are. Nobody cares that life is unfair. Nobody cares about your struggles, your excuses, your bad days. Because guess what? Everyone's got their own problems. The world doesn't owe you sympathy. You ever wonder why some people rise while others stay stuck? It's not talent, it's not luck. It's because some people get tired of waiting for someone to care and decide to do something about it. The harsh truth, nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to hand you success. The only person who can change your life is you. So what's it gonna be? Sit there and wait for someone to care, or get up and make them notice? Let's be real for a second. You're struggling. You're tired. You feel like you're putting in effort, but no one is noticing. Maybe you've been grinding, but the results aren't coming fast enough. And deep down, you're hoping, maybe even expecting someone to recognize your hard work. But guess what? Nobody cares. And before you take that the wrong way, let me explain why that's actually the best news you'll ever hear. Look around. Every single person you know is dealing with something. Stress, debt, family issues, mental battles, their own insecurities. They don't have time to sit and worry about your problems because they're too busy trying to fix their own. Think about it. When was the last time you sat down and genuinely thought about someone else's struggles for more than a minute? You don't, because life keeps moving. And that's the reality. Life doesn't stop for anyone's excuses. You can be going through hell, but the world, it keeps turning. This part stings, but hear me out. Nobody gets rewarded just for trying. We live in a results-driven world. People don't pay for effort. They pay for solutions. They pay for value. They pay for results. Think about sports. If an athlete trains for years but never wins, they don't become a champion just because they worked hard. If an entrepreneur grinds for decades but never builds a successful business, the market doesn't reward them for trying. It only rewards what they produce. It's harsh. It's unfair. But it's the truth. Hard work is only respected when it leads to something. That's why you have to stop expecting credit for the struggle and start focusing on outcomes. Let's take a real-life example. David Goggins. This guy was at rock bottom, overweight, stuck in a dead-end job, full of self-pity. Nobody cared about his struggles. Nobody was cheering him on. But then he stopped waiting for sympathy and started working harder. He transformed himself into one of the toughest endurance athletes in history. He became a Navy SEAL, broke world records, and pushed his limits beyond what anyone thought was possible. And suddenly, the world started paying attention. Not when he was struggling, not when he was making excuses, but when he delivered results. That's the pattern you see with every successful person. Nobody cares when you're failing, when you're broke, when you're lost. But when you win, everyone suddenly wants to know your secret. So ask yourself, do you want sympathy or do you want success? Because you can't have both. And you're waiting for someone to recognize your effort. You're hoping that one day people will see how hard you're trying and finally give you the respect, the credit, the opportunity you deserve. Let me tell you something. That day is never coming. Nobody is going to knock on your door, shake your hand, and say, "Hey, I see you struggling. I see your potential. Let me make your dreams happen for you." That doesn't happen, ever. The world doesn't stop for people who wait. It moves for people who move first. Think about it. When was the last time you celebrated someone's almost success? Do companies hand out promotions done to employees just because they try hard? Do athletes get championship rings because they almost won? No, society doesn't care how much effort you put in. It only cares about what you deliver. You can sit around hoping someone will validate your effort, or you can understand the brutal truth. Effort without results is invisible. Take Michael Jordan. He was cut from his high school basketball team. Did anyone care about his pain back then? Did they throw him a pity party? No. But when he became a 6-time NBA champion, when he dominated the game and rewrote history, suddenly everyone cared. The lesson? Success gets attention. Struggle does not. Most people don't move forward because they're waiting. Waiting for motivation, waiting for the right time, waiting for someone to believe in them. And because they're waiting, they stay stuck. The truth is, nobody will believe in you until you prove yourself. It's not personal. It's human nature. People follow success, not potential. That means if you want to be seen, if you want to be noticed, you don't beg for validation. You force people to recognize you by becoming undeniable. Studies in psychology show that people who rely on external validation for motivation are less likely to succeed than those who rely on intrinsic discipline. Why? Because motivation is fleeting. Think about it. You've had days where you felt hyped to work out, to hustle, to grind. But then the next day, that motivation disappeared. You got tired, you lost momentum, you slipped. That's because motivation is an emotion. And like every emotion, it fades. Discipline, though, that's a habit. A study from the European Journal of Social Psychology found that it takes about 66 days to form a habit. Once that habit is set, you don't need to feel inspired. You just do it. It becomes who you are. And that's the secret. Stop chasing motivation. Build discipline instead. If you take one thing from this, let it be this. You don't need anyone's permission to be great. You don't need someone to validate you. You don't need the world to believe in you first. You need to move now before anyone notices. Because once you start winning, once you start getting results, that's when people care. That's when they take notice. But by then, you won't even need their validation anymore. So stop waiting. Stop seeking approval. Start building. Start executing. Start becoming unstoppable. Your time is now. Let's be real. Saying work harder is easy. But what does that actually mean? Because most people think working harder just means grinding 24/7. But that's not it. It's not about working more hours, burning out, or running yourself into the ground. It's about working smarter, with more focus, more consistency, and more intensity. You don't need motivation. You need a system. And I'm going to give you one right now. A formula to actually work harder in a way that gets results. Listen, your biggest enemy isn't lack of time, it's distraction. You sit down to work, and before you know it, you're scrolling, checking notifications, or watching just one YouTube video. Sound familiar? That's because your brain is addicted to cheap dopamine. Every time you scroll through Instagram, binge Netflix, or check TikTok, your brain gets a little hit of dopamine, the feel-good chemical. The problem? This makes real work feel boring. Solution? Dopamine detox. For 7 days, do this. No social media in the morning. No random YouTube rabbit holes. No junk dopamine, gaming, scrolling, endless entertainment. Instead, replace it with productive dopamine. Read for 10 minutes in the morning. Start the day with something hard. Workout, deep work, studying. Delay gratification, no entertainment until real work is done. Science backs this up. Studies show that reducing instant dopamine spikes rewires your brain to enjoy deep work again. After a week, you'll find that focusing becomes effortless. Here's the truth. Most people work for hours, but get nothing done. Why? Because they're half working, half distracted. Checking their phone, jumping between tasks, responding to messages, all of this kills your focus. You need to train your brain to go deep. Here's the method. Work in 90-minute deep focus blocks. Research from productivity experts shows that the brain works best in focused intervals. Zero distractions, turn off notifications, close tabs, work like it's life or death. Take a 10-minute break, then repeat. Your brain recharges, making your next session just as productive. Hard work isn't about how intense you are for a day. It's about how consistent you are for years. If you go to the gym and lift 300 pounds once, it does nothing. But if you lift 50 pounds every day for a year, you get stronger than 99% of people. That's how everything works. Business, fitness, learning, success work daily, even if it's small. Progress compounds. Forget motivation. Make it a habit. The best in the world don't feel like it. They do it anyway. Trust the long game. The results won't come in a week, but in a year, you'll be unrecognizable. You don't need a fancy plan. You just need to commit to the basics. Cut out distractions. Work in deep focus blocks. Show up every day. This is the formula for working harder that actually works. And the question is, are you actually going to do it? Your move. Look, at the end of the day, you have two choices. Make excuses or make progress. It's really that simple. And I know your mind is probably firing back right now, giving you reasons why it's different for you, why you have valid struggles, why you can't just flip a switch and go all in. But let me tell you something hard to hear. That voice in your head, the one giving you every reason why things aren't working out, it's lying to you. It's comforting you. It's keeping you stuck. Because while you're convincing yourself that you need more time, while you're rationalizing why you haven't taken action yet, someone else is out there putting in the work. Someone else is showing up while you hesitate. Someone else is getting better while you're stuck in your head. And here's the thing. You will never get another chance at this exact moment, right here, right now. Time doesn't pause for your fears. It doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It doesn't care if you're tired, unmotivated, or uncertain. Because while you're sitting there contemplating your next move, the world keeps turning. So the real question is, are you going to sit back and let life happen to you? Or are you going to grab life by the throat and make it notice you? You don't need another sign. This is it. You don't need more motivation. You need discipline. You don't need someone to believe in you first. You need to bet on yourself. And listen, I know it's not easy, but that's exactly the point. If success were easy, everyone would be winning. If discipline were comfortable, everyone would be at the top. But they're not. Most people stay average because they never get past this moment. The moment where it's easier to quit than to keep going. But not you. Not today. Because today you make a choice to stop waiting, a choice to stop hoping, a choice to stop expecting someone else to do it for you. You've got everything you need to start right here, right now. So what's it going to be? Sit there, thinking about what you could do, or get up, put in the work, and prove to the world and yourself that you're unstoppable? The clock is ticking. Your time is now. If this video hit you hard, good. That means you needed to hear it. But motivation fades fast. The real question is, what are you going to do next? Are you going to click off and go back to the same old habits? Or are you going to take this energy and turn it into action? If you found this video helpful, subscribe, like, and drop a comment below. Tell me, what's one thing you're committing to change today? Because this isn't just about watching videos. It's about leveling up your life. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next video. Because I promise you, this is just the beginning. Now get up, get moving, and make it happen.